Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Vagishadhya Sumanasa Sarvartha Namapakrame Yannatva Krita Krityas Yastannamami Gajananam Sharada Sharadam Bhojavadana Vadanam Bhuje Sarvada Sarvadasmakam Sannidhim Kriyat Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shastrabdhiparadrishvanam Sangahinam Taponidhim Bhaje Shri Bharati Tirtha Gurum Bhadra Ughadayakam Vidya Vinaya Sampannam Vetaragam Vivekinam Vande Vedanta Tattvajñam Yuthashekhara Bharatim Shruti Smriti Purana Namalayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Lokashankaram. Namaskaram everyone. Today we'll be doing the fourth shloka. Tomorrow we'll conclude our sessions. Quick note that we'll be ending class 10 minutes early today because we have a speaker in the end that will introduce a new course. Is it a new course? Yes, a new course that is being offered through Vyoma. The good news is a lot of what we are about to cover in the Maneesha Panchakam Shlokam today has actually been touched upon in almost all of the other shlokas that we have done so far. So luckily, I don't think we will need the full hour. So it works out very nicely in that sense. So we forgot to tell the shloka. Shrimate Shankararya Yadhimate Adbhuta Shaktaye Namostadvaita Siddhanta Sthapana Pattamurtaye. Ya Tiryang Naradevata Bhirahamiti
Ya Tiryang Naradevata Bhirahamiti Ya Tiryang Naradevata Bhirahamiti
Antasphuta Grihyate
Antasphuta Grihyate Antasphuta Grihyate
Ya Tiryang Naradevata Bhirahamityantasphuta Grihyate
Ya Tiryang Naradevata Bhirahamityantasphuta Grihyate Ya Tiryang Naradevata Bhirahamityantasphuta Grihyate
Yadbhasa Hridayakshadeha Vishayaha
Yadbhasa Hridayakshadeha Vishayaha Yadbhasa Hridayakshadeha Vishayaha
Bhanti Svato Chetanaha
Bhanti Svato Chetanaha Bhanti Svato Chetanaha
Yadbhasa Hridayakshadeha Vishayaha Bhanti Svato Chetanaha
Yadbhasa Hridayakshadeha Vishayaha Bhanti Svato Chetanaha Yadbhasa Hridayakshadeha Vishayaha Bhanti Svato Chetanaha
Tam Bhasyaif Pihitarkamandalanibham
Tam Bhasyaif Pihitarkamandalanibham Tam Bhasyaif Pihitarkamandalanibham
Spurtim Sada Bhavayan
Spurtim Sada Bhavayan Spurtim Sada Bhavayan
Tam Bhasyaif Pihitarkamandalanibham Spurtim Sada Bhavayan
Tam Bhasyaif Pihitarkamandalanibham Spurtim Sada Bhavayan Tam Bhasyaif Pihitarkamandalanibham Spurtim Sada Bhavayan
Yogi Nirvritamanasohi
Yogi Nirvritamanasohi Yogi Nirvritamanasohi
Gururityesha Maneesha Mama.
Gururityesha Maneesha Mama. Gururityesha Maneesha Mama.
Yogi Nirvratamanaso hi Gururityesha Maneesha Mama.
Yogi Nirvritamanaso hi Gururityesha Maneesha Mama. Yogi Nirvritamanaso hi Gururityesha Maneesha Mama.
Okay, so that is the fourth shloka. Ya Tiryang Naradevata Aham iti Antasphuta, or you can also break it if you need. Antaha Sphuta, you can take Antaha as an avya. Antaha Sphuta Grihyate Yad Bhasa Hridayakshadeha Vishayaha Bhanti Svato Chetanaha. That also you can break because Svataha is also an avya. You can also make it Samasa Ghatita. Tam Bhasyehi PihitarkamandalaniBham Spurtim Sada Bhavayan Yogi Nirvritamanasaha Hi Guruhu Iti Esha Maneesha Mama. Okay, so in the beginning we have Ya, right? That Ya means Spurti. Spurti is nothing but Chaitanya. So that's it. Again, like the last few days, I will do a quick meaning and then we'll go into it in detail again. So Ya, that Chaitanya which Tiriyak Nara Devatabhi, by Tiriyak, animals, humans and Devatas, Antaha, inside, like within, Grihyate, is realized as Aham. So that which is thought of as Aham by animals, humans and Devatas, Yad Bhasa, that by whose light, Hridayakshadeha Vishayaha, the mind, the Indriyas, the Sharira, the objects of perception, all of these, Swataha Achetanaha, though they are inherently insentient, Bhanti, shine or known, Tam, that Chaitanya, Bhasyehi Pihitarka Mandala Nibham. So that Chaitanya which is covered with the very objects it is illuminating. Just as the sun is covered by the clouds, which are still made visible by the sun's light, thinking of such a Chaitanya, that yogi, that great soul, that yogi, that practitioner of yoga, that person who has control of their mind, Nirvrita Manasaha, whose manas is now established in moksha, or whose mind is now free. He is a guru who, he is the teacher. And then you can stick in here Chandadostu Satudvijostu Guru who. Iti Esha Maneesha Mama. This is my resolve. So such a yogi is a guru to me. This is my resolve. So what kind of a yogi? A yogi that is thinking of that Chaitanya which is covered by the very objects it illumines, that Chaitanya which illumines the mind, the Indriyas and the Deha, and the bodies which are inherently Jada, which are inherently insentient, and that Chaitanya which is referred to as Aham, that is referred to as I, by animals, humans and gods alike, Devatas alike. Okay, so as we can probably see already, there are several topics that we have touched on either in the explanation of the shloka itself or in the question and answers at the end. So in the beginning we have Ya. So Ya, because Purti is Strilinga, we have Ya. Tiryak. Tiryak literally means horizontal, those which are horizontal. So animals are referred to as Tiryak, Tiryanchaha in Bahochanam. Because animals are usually quadrupeds, they grow like this. Humans being bipedal grow like this usually, right? Which is why also when we put our buttu, when Vaishnavas put the tilaka, it is called urdhva pundra. When Smartas and Advaitis and Shaivas and all put bhasma, this is called tiryak pundra, the horizontal lines. So that is tiryak, refers to animals. Nara, humans, literally nragato, that those who have a gati, those who do things, who go to naraka and swarga, those who have a fate are called humans, naras. Then devata, devatas are, here we are not talking Ishwara like Shiva, Vishnu, not that level of Ishwara, right? We are talking about the devatas in the sense that the manifestations of Ishwara that run the world, right? Agni as fire, Vayu as wind, Indra as rain, Prithvi as the earth, Ashwini Devatas, the, Vasugana, Rudragana, Adithya Gana, all of these. So these Devatas, which are all the different vibhutis of Ishwara, the different aspects of Ishwara that manifest in, the running of this world. So, it's like one step above humans. So you have animals, humans, Devatas. By all of these beings alike, Atma is being referred to as Aham. Now, if we think back to the Mahavakya, right, that this shloka is supposed to embody, it is Ayam Atma Brahma. Ayam means this Atma is Brahman. Atma refers to the Jivatma here. Now, Ayam means, as we said, we talked about this, right? Tat means it is not Pratyaksha. Etat means it is readily accessible as a Pratyaksha Padartha. So Ayam means this, that which I am experiencing right now, that which is close to me. Atma is close to everyone as the very feeling of I-ness. Right? Vishwahankara Bijam is called. The seed of I-ness for literally everyone. Vishvesham, not Vishwasya. Vishvesham Ahankaranam Bijam. Vishwahankara Bijam. Not Vishwasya. Vishvesham. Those of you that know that will get the Swarasya there. So that Atma is close to everyone as the feeling of Aham, that which makes us feel I-ness in the body, that which makes us feel I-ness in the mind, that which makes us feel I-ness in the Indriyas, all the source of our Abhimana, it is called Abhimana. When we feel that I am something, that is called Abhimana. So the source of our Deha Abhimana, Indriya Abhimana, all of these Abhimanas that we have, the source of that is Atma. So Atma is actually what Aham refers to, but due to our avidya, due to ajnana, due to the effects of Maya, we place that Aham as referring to the body or referring to the Indriyas or referring to the mind, so on and so forth. But in reality, then Bhagavad Pada goes on to show that in fact, those things that we mistake to be Atma are actually being illumined by Atma. So what are those things? Hridaya, the mind; Aksha, the Indriyas; Deha, the body; Vishayas, other sense objects. So Hridaya, an interesting Vyutpati I saw for this was Hridaha Ayanam Hridayam, where the Hrit is located. For us, Hrit and Hrid are the same thing. Swantam Hrin Manasam. Chittam tu Cheto Hridayam Swantam Hrin Manasam Manaha. Namarakosha, Hrit and Hriday are given as Paryaya Padas, as synonyms. And for being quite frank, Hrit and Hriday are also used interchangeably. There is no difference in the two. But in a Vyakya I was reading, they said, Hridaha Ayanam Hridayam. The reason they were making that was there is obviously the heart that is the organ, right? When we talked about the Indriyas, that the eye is not the eyeball is not the Chakshur Indriya. The power of sight that is used through the eyeball, or that the eyeball utilizes to see, is, or other end, that the faculty of sight that utilizes the eyeball to see is what the Chakshur Indriya actually is. So in the same way here, there is a physical heart, right? The heart that supplies blood to the body and then rechannels it back through and then pumps it through the four chambers and all that. So that is first what we take to be Hrit. And then that Indriya, which has its locus in the Hrit, is Hridayam. Right? So it's just saying that it is this kind of Vyakya, what it does is, rather than just saying that it is the mind, it tells us that there is a physical entity, but that physical entity is not the subtle entity that we're talking about right now. And it also gives us the locus of the Hrit in the body, right? We have in that Narayana Sukta, right? Vitasthi, from the throat down, from the nabhi up, nabhyam paritishthati, right? Vitasthyante nabhyam paritishthati. Jvalamala kulambhati vishwasyaitanam mahat. So all that description we have of where the Paramatma, is philosophically located in the body, right? So that location of the heart, that locus, is there in the heart, but the beating heart itself is not, where the antahkarana is, or is the antahkarana. That beating heart is not the antahkarana. So that is why that particular Vyakhyata chose to gloss the word Hridayam as that which is located in the Hrit, or that whose locus is the Hrit. And then Aksha are the Indriyas. So as we said earlier, these are of two kinds, Jnanendriyas, Karmendriyas. Jnanendriyas are used for perception, Chakshushrota, Grahana, Chakshushrota, Grahana. And then the Karmendriyas, of course, Vak, Pani, Pada, Payu, Upastha, the hand, the foot, all the tongue, the excretory, and then the reproductory organs. So those are the 5 Karmendriyas. And then Deha. By the Deha, we refer to the not just the Sthula Deha. Actually, it is referring to the Sthula Deha, because we have gotten the Antahkarna, the Indriyas. The only thing left to cover in, the general package of flesh that we like to call ourselves is the actual flesh itself, the body, right? So the Deha refers to the Sthula Sharira, that is, the gross body that is made up of, flesh and skin and meat and bones and tendons and marrow and all that. So, and then Vishayaha are the things that, perhaps are not contained in this sack of skin, but rather are things that are experienced by the Indriyas. So various sounds, various words, various things that we can touch, various things that we can eat, various things that we can smell. All of those are Vishayaha or Vishayas. So these all shine, these are all perceptible, although they are swataha achetanaha. They do not have any chaitanya of their own. Right? We talked about this. Whereas we have no effort to perceive ourselves, right? Aham is self-evident to everyone. But if I want to see a book, it needs another drashta. It needs something else to illuminate. By the light of the Atman, another object outside is illumined. So, for example, the book has no sataf prakasha of its own. It is the Atman that has to illumine the light. It's only when its focus is turned to the book becomes an object of experience. Whereas that is not the case with Atman. Whether our focus is on it or not, it is an object of experience inherently. Right? So we have covered that also in the past few classes. So by whose bhas, by whose light, these, the Hridaya, Indriyas, and the Sthula Sharira shine, although they are devoid of, their own Chaitanya. Tam Spurtim. So Bhavayan, thinking of that Chaitanya, then we get the question, right? You are saying in the first line that this Atman is readily available to everyone as Aham. And that, it's not even that humans think of Aham one way and animals think of Aham another way and Devatas think another way. You are saying that this feeling of I-ness is universal. The same root, I am feeling I-ness due to the same entity or the same entity that you are feeling I-ness for due to, and that a cow or a dog or an elephant is feeling I-ness due to, or that Agni or Indra or Varuna is feeling I-ness due to. The root of that ahantva, aham pratyaya, is one. So you are saying that this is a universal feeling that everyone is familiar with in the first line. In the second line, you're saying that by its light, other things are shining, but yet it somehow is the case that although we are operating the things that Atman makes available to us, we are unable to realize that we are Atman. How is this? So Bhagavad Pada gives us a simile. Pihita bhasyehi pihitarka mandala nibham. Bhasya is that which is illumined. So what is the situation like? Pihita arka mandala nibham. Bhasyehi pihita arka mandala nibham. Pihita means covered. So this is actually the upasarga api. In this api, the lopa of the akara is vikalpa. The same way how in the upasarga ava, the lopa of the akara is vikalpa, right? Avalaksha, avalaksha, avadhana, avadhana, right? In the same way, apihita, pihita, pidhana, apidhana. These are the, they're the same. They carries the same meaning. So pihita means covered. Arka, the sun. Mandala, the orb. Nibham, sadrisha, sadrishi, like that. So that Chaitanya, which is like the orb of the sun, or the disk of the sun, the figure of the sun, which is covered, which is pihita by what? Bhasyehi, by the very things that the sun illumines. On a cloudy day, the clouds cover the sun, right? There is no sun per se that you are looking at that will cause you to go temporarily blind the way it is on a midsummer's day on a clear sky. However, you are still able to see the clouds. Now it is obvious that clouds don't generate any light of their own. So the same light that is the same sun that is giving us the light to see the clouds is being blocked by the clouds themselves. In the same way, Atman is being blocked by the very Hridaya, Indriyas, and Sharira that it is illumining itself. That is the beautiful simile that Bhagavad Pada gives there. So that yogi who is thinking of such an Atma, what does the word yogi mean? One who has yoga is yogi. Yoga is unity, literally uniting with something. If we take the yoga school's definition, it is the chitta vritti nirodha, the restraint of the the shape of the mind. Right? There is a very famous song called "The Shape of You." I don't know, but the shape of you is actually the shape of the mind. The mind shapes what we are. So in the same way, the mind takes the form of anything that we look at. This is not saying that the mind actually physically is taking a certain form. The way it works in Vedanta is the mind itself goes to the object and reflects off of it back into our mind. Let us not go into that process, but the point being that the mind is figuratively assumes the shape of whatever object that it is illuminating. The mind figuratively assumes the shape of whatever object it is focusing on at the time. So the ability to control that. So we have no control over, quite frankly, we have no control over what the mind does. We have no control over when the mind goes from one thought to another. We can, generally speaking, I'm saying without any practice, generally we can maybe think of something in the next second. We can decide our next thought and the thought after that. But generally speaking, we cannot really control the mind's ability to shift from one thought to another. The practice of yoga is meant to arrest that, so that the yogi can fix upon one thing and devote his mind to that alone without it changing form into another thing to be experienced. So, and then there are various, time spaces, that is there, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. There are for different durations and in different intensities and with different vishayas in mind. These three are given to us. But in any case, this yogi is basically someone that has attained mastery of the mind. In Gita, the word yogi is actually used in about 4 or 5 different ways. Sometimes it is meant a jnani, sometimes it is meant a karma yogi, sometimes it is meant by someone, as I just said, that controls the mind. Sometimes it is meant by someone that is always thinking of Paramatma. So in Gita also it is used in various ways. Any of those work here. But the important thing here is the result of this dhyana of that chaitanya, right? Of the thinking of that chaitanya and also of this yoga is nirvrita manasaha. He becomes nirvritam manasam yasya. He whose manas has become nirvrita. Nirvrita literally means satisfied, quelled. That is literally what nirvrita means. But here the Vyakhyakas have written nirvritam muktam manasam yasya. So he whose manas is now free, he whose antahkarana is now released. Now technically it is not the antahkarana that is released, but when the manas attains laya, it is called moksha. Manolaya eva moksha is what Shastra says. So what that means is, once the identity that we can usually trace back to the mind, once that dissolves into Atman, then you have attained moksha. So such a person, he, Guruhu. Another nice thing in the Vyakhyas was they said that he was hetvartha, hikaro hetvartha in some cases. So he means therefore in some cases. So, yasmat nirvrita manasaha tasmat guruhu. Because such a yogi, because such a jnani has attained moksha, therefore he is my guru. So once again stressing the fact that we talked about on the first day, that the jnana is the main hetu for respect for the jnana is the cause of brahma jnana, and a brahma jnani is a guru to everyone, regardless of whatever their body may be. So to recap, that Atman which is being experienced as aham by all beings, regardless of their species, that Atma, that Chaitanya, by whose light the Hridaya, Indriyas, and Deha are being illuminated, though they themselves are insentient. Thinking of that Atman, thinking of that Chaitanya, that is akin to the sun which is blocked by its own, by the clouds which are illuminated by the sun's own light. That such a yogi that is always carrying that Chaitanya in his, that is always thinking of such a Chaitanya, doing dhyana of such a Chaitanya, that yogi who has found moksha is a guru, is my guru. Esha Maneesha Mama. This is my firm resolve. Right? So we have finished quite quickly today, but that is because the groundwork over the last 3 shlokas, I think, may have helped with that. We will leave 10-15 minutes for any questions that you have, and then the last 15 minutes we will have for the presentation by for the new course. So you can go ahead if you have any questions. Let me look at the chat first. Pure consciousness is mentioned in many spirituality discussions. The word is not clear. How precisely can we define? Chaitanyam is the word in Sanskritam. Pure consciousness means we cannot conceive of consciousness without a vessel that is enlivened by it, generally speaking. We cannot conceive of life separate from a body. For example, life is not Chaitanya, but I'm giving it to you as an example. You cannot conceive of life without a body, right? There is no such thing as, I guess there's not many ways to rephrase that, I guess. But in the same way, there is something that allows the mind to think. There is something that allows the mind to be functional. There is something that makes the indriyas functional. That thing devoid of the baggage that is usually present with it. So you usually have Chaitanya and the Indriya making the Indriya work. Chaitanya and the Sharira making the Sharira work. Chaitanya and the mind making the mind work. So if you remove the and only keep the thing that makes it work, that is pure consciousness, which is Chaitanya. Is there a difference between Devaha and Devata? No, there is no difference. Daivatam also is the same thing. Yeah, those two are the same thing. I guess Devaha is also kind of used to mean fate in some cases. But in this case, it is just, the Devatas that, are Prasiddha in Shastra. The second thing, what Mahavakya is in this verse? Yes, I guess I was not, very clear about that. Ayamatma Brahma. Ayamatma Brahma. This Atman is Brahman. So Atma is what is referred to as, is the Ayamatma, right? This Atma is shown when we say ahamityantasputa grhyate. It is taken as aham and it is antasputa. It is clear inside. It is experienced inwardly. Right? So that is the ayamatma, and then the Brahma is the thing that is illuminating everything. So with those two you have shown ekavakyata. So ayamatma Brahma from Atharva Veda is the Mahavakya for this one. Then, is it possible to provide the link for Vyakhya? Yes, I told you on the first day itself, right? There is a book called Prakarana Dvadashi. It is present in that. Does Brahman reflect on the body or does it inhabit it? Is there a jiva inside the body? In which body, subtle or causal? Okay, yeah, we can cover this because this will not come up in the other shloka, so we might as well cover it now. So we have 3 shariras, Thola Sukshma Karana. Which body is Brahman inside? All of them. Because it inhabits it as layers, right? There is an avasthatraya prakriya, dehatraya prakriya. There is also a kosha, panchakosha prakriya, right? You have probably heard the annamaya kosha, pranamaya kosha, manomaya kosha, vijnanamaya kosha, anandamaya kosha. There are 5 sheaths that the Atma is within. They are called sheaths because koshavad achhadakatvat. Just as a sheath surrounds the sword and covers it from sight, in the same way, these koshas, these layers, cover Atman and hide it from our sight. So, the Annamaya kosha refers to the Sthula Sharira, right? The body of flesh. Then the Pranamaya kosha, Manomaya kosha, and Vijnanamaya kosha all refer to the Karana Sharira. Those 3 koshas put together make the Karana Sharira. The Sukshma Sharira. And then the Anandamaya kosha is the Karana Sharira. And there are also avasthas for all of these. We deal mostly with the Annamaya kosha, which is the Sthula Sharira in Jagrat. We deal with the Prana, Mano, Vijnana koshas in Swapnavastha, which is the Sukshma Sharira. And then we deal with the Anandamaya kosha, which is the Karana Sharira in Sushupti. So the avasthas, koshas, and what is it? Avasthas, koshas, and the shariratraya, the three shariras. All three of these they kind of align. So Brahman is inside all of these, the very core of all of these koshas. Prarabdha karma starts with birth, and once prarabdha karma is over, the body collapses. Will this prarabdha karma, which remains at death, not get converted into sanchita karma? No, because there is no prarabdha karma that remains at death, right? We were saying that death occurs when prarabdha karma is exhausted. So there is no prarabdha karma that is left over. There is no such thing as leftover prarabdha karma. Yeah. Sanchita karma is a big enough story where one prarabdha karma will not get rid of it. Yeah. Okay, let me go to people that have their hand raised. Sir Valoriji.
Namaskaram, sir. One question. For me to understand Paramatma, to know him, am I to go beyond the mind? Am I to go to a state of mindlessness? Is it necessary?
Mindless has a very negative connotation these days. If you're saying transcending the mind, but yes, you definitely have to transcend the mind. Right? We have indriyebhyah parahyarthaha, or something indriyebhyah param manah, manasastu para buddhi, eva buddhyah paratastu saha. Right? Indriyani paranyahur indriyebhyah param manah, manasastu para buddhi, eva buddhyah paratastu saha. This is Gita. I got it confused with the Upanishad Vakya also, because there is sa kashtha sa paragatihi. It's very similar. The thing with Gita, as we say, right, the Bhagavad Gita, so Upanishads. So a lot of the shlokas of Gita are shoplifted from the Upanishads. Those get indriyebhyah parahyartha, indriyebhyah param manah. Manasa Atmano naparam kinchit sakashtha sa paragati. Something like that is the last line. Sakashtha sa paragati is a very famous line. Upanishad Vakya. But same thing as this Bhagavad Gita shloka, right? So it is manasastu parabuddhi yo buddhe parataha. That is saha. Tatpadavachya, which is Paramatma. So definitely it is past the mind. Yeah. A certain stage of mindlessness, yes, in so far that you do not identify with the mind.
But that is the same as the Chitta Vritti Nirodha?
It is close, because see, still in Advaita we do not agree with or we do not accept the not that we don't accept, I guess. It is just that the yoga school, the end of their path is samadhi, which is, as we said, the arresting of the mind. For us, it is not the arresting of the mind upon one thing per se, but as you said, it is the transcending of the mind. So there is one last step that samadhi makes very possible, that samadhi makes very reachable. Right? So that is what it is. It is not so much that the chitta vritti nirodha itself is moksha.
Oh, thank you, sir. Namaskar. Dhanyawadaha.
V. Chandrakalaji.
Namaste, Mahodaya.
Uchita.
Namaste.
Namaste, Uchita.
You tell that after the prarabdha is expired, only the body falls. But what about some say that if there is an apamrityu, the soul will be wandering like devils, like that. What about that?
Yeah. So I was actually thinking someone might ask that yesterday, but no one asked, so I didn't touch it. If there is an apamrityu, we say that the pretatma stays there, right? So for when we say atma, right? Yes. What do we mean? We mean the chaitanya accompanied with the sukshma bhutas, right? When we say that something is leaving this body and going to another, right? We mean the atma with the sukshma bhutas, right? This is what, if those of you that have done Shankara Digvijaya, Tadantara Pratipatto Brahmati Samparishvaktah Prashna Nirupanabhyam. In that, the Samparishvaktah refers to the Sukshma Bhutas that the Atma is united with as it travels from body to body. So when we say that the body is left, it is left when the prarabdha is over. But let us say that there is some karma that needs to be experienced through the body of a preta or a pishacha or something. That is another body that is being inhabited by that very same Atma and the Sukshma Bhutas. So it is just going into another set of karma that is being experienced. That is all. Does that make sense? I don't know if I was clear about that.
Thank you.
Because what the point I'm making is the Sukshma Bhutas and the Atma combined go from Sharira to Sharira. So that will just become a Pishacha or something like that in some cases.
Thank you, Mahoday.
Yes, Tameva Bhantam Anubhadi Sarvam is the exact meaning of the second line. Correct. Yes. Ashok ji.
Namaste, Mahodaya. You already asked my question of that pure consciousness. Actually, it is not still clear to me. Pure consciousness is vapored in many discussions. So just now you mentioned that you separate that. I wouldn't really understand properly what you mentioned in my question in the chat. So pure consciousness, but exactly it means and how we can define really.
I'm thinking of other ways to define it. The root of I-ness is pure Chaitanya. The thing that causes you to think I is Chaitanya. That by which you feel I am, that is pure Chaitanya. You are not feeling that because of the body, you are not feeling that because of the Indriyas, you are not feeling that because of the mind. You are feeling that because of Chaitanya. That is pure Chaitanya.
Means what we perceive through Indriyas or body is through Chaitanya. That's what you mean.
Yeah, Chaitanya allows them, right? Chaitanya makes them capable of doing their work. If there is no Chaitanya in a dead body, that body, though it has eyes, cannot see, though it has feet, cannot move, though it has ears, cannot listen.
Means Atma, Chaitanya Atma is same. Chaitanya Atma is same.
Yeah, Chaitanya and Atma are the same thing. Yes, very much.
Yeah. Okay. And see, another question is, yesterday I'm taking a lead from Nalini's question. That is, you said that Guru is the very most important thing in your sampradaya. So suppose, for example, I am confident that I have taken Guru in Bihar. I went there and he is a devout person, definitely. But what happens is I am in Hyderabad and he is in Bihar. So very contacts are very less and no correspondence, and he has taken separate life also afterwards. So when Guru is not possible to be met frequently every year or every 6 months, then but still he is my Guru. I can't take another Guru. So how you consider how to take how to consider it? Because when people say that first you pray Guru, because the Guru it is happening, but some of in my mind thinks that Guru is yes, but it's happening to my God. My God is say Devi or Vishnu, whatever it is. So normally my mind goes to Ishwara, not to Guru. Guru I pray, but somehow it happens that like you or some other people, it is not the Guru which I consider prime. I consider Ishwara is prime. So it is some confusion is there in my mind. Say what way we should consider Guru.
There is no difference between Guru and Ishvara in our sampradaya, right? Yasya deve para bhakti yatha deve tatha guru tasyaite kathita hyarthaha prakashante mahatmanam is a saying, right? So he who has faith or bhakti towards Ishvara and the same bhakti towards the Guru, tasyete, the break there is actually akathita hyarthaha. Even if he is not particularly taught something, those aspects of knowledge will still shine in his mind. So there are innumerable examples where if you pray to Ishwara with sincerity, Ishwara either becomes the Guru or shows you a Guru. And also, you brought up the case of Jagat Gurus, right? It is actually much easier if the Guru in question is a Jagat Guru, simply because the things that they have said, at least these days, are being recorded. There are several books that have been brought out, giving us what they have said, what their teachings are. So it is very easy for us to be Shishyas, literally those to be instructed, by just following what they have said. We no longer even need to go to their physical presence to know what teachings they have given us. Right? In the olden days, for example, in Bhagavad Pada's time, if you're in Kashi and Bhagavad Pada is in Sringeri, then you have no way of knowing what Bhagavad Pada is saying. But we are very lucky today that we have several Mahatmas and of course Jagat Gurus who whose words are recorded, printed, publicized, circulated. So we have things to follow. And of course they're giving darshana. Most acharyas give darshana. So they're available. It is not like they are inaccessible. So both of those are there.
That means though Guru is distant, or I did not see Guru after once he has given Diksha, still means I must consider Guru as the most important person, or equal to deity, to say.
Yes, because as I said yesterday, right, when you are doing sadhana, you will need something or the other to keep as a measuring stick, something or the other to set your boundaries. That thing that does that will become the Guru. Whether you take it to be Ishwara, whether you take it to be a human or a Guru or something, or whatever you choose it to be, whatever you use to check your sadhana, whatever you use to set your boundaries, whatever you submit to, will end up being the role of the Guru. So you cannot escape.
Dhanyavad.
Okay. 2 more minutes and then I will hand over the stage to them. Who has not spoken yet? Let us see. Swati ji.
Namaste, Guruji. Which avastha does the coma state come in? Swapna or Sushupti?
So if we take the coma, right, I'm assuming you're talking about the vegetative state, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So the physical body is not moving, right? So we can rule out Jagrat. The mind also is not functioning, right? There is no brain activity. Or very limited brain activity of that. So the manas is not functioning, so it cannot be a swapna. So by process of elimination, it will have to be sushupti.
Then is it that the person is experiencing happiness? Because
see, that is the one thing I was hesitant about. We can just say perhaps that the anandamsha is tirohita, right? Because just as we say, right, Sachidananda is an aspect of Brahman and everything, the Sat aspect is evident, right? The existence aspect is evident, and also the Chit also is evident because the objects are shining, they're evident, they're objects of experience. But just as in the what do you call the Jagrata Avastha, the Anandamsha is tirohita. The aspect of Ananda is covered. We can think of it the same way in a coma state. The other thing is, see, when we wake up from deep sleep, we use recollection to, right? It is pratyabhijna. We use recognizance to say that I was sleeping happily. One thing we can perhaps say is, when someone comes out of a coma, the samagri that is there to remember is not present. Perhaps that is another way that we could take it. Right? The thing that can go back to recall the memories of what was experienced during the coma is not present.
Okay.
So we can also take it that way too.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Also interesting questions actually when you raise such possibilities. We'll take one more. Lalita VG.
Hello.
Ram.
Good morning. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Yesterday also I had asked this towards the end. If Brahman is the eternal and the only being, or the only existence, or whatever you call it, what how is this thing voluntary or involuntary? The transformation or whatever it is called, expansion into Jagat, is it voluntary or involuntary? And
It
if
is
Brahman
voluntary.
is absolute bliss, what is the necessity for this Jagat to be, why should it happen?
Yeah, fair questions. This is voluntary, right? It is voluntary because Upanishad is very clear that there was a sankalpa, right? Tadaichhata, right? There was an ichha. So Upanishad is very clear that there was a sankalpa. The object of that sankalpa was to become manifold. Brahman had a desire to become manifold. So then that is your second question. Why did this have to happen? Right? That was your second question. What is the need if Brahman is already bliss? So there's a Brahma Sutra called Lokavattu Leela Kaivalyam. Just as in the world, right? A kid is playing. See, kids are generally happy. Unless we disturb them, kids generally stay happy. But yet he will take up a bat or a ball or pick at a stone, or he will be playing with something or the other, even though he is generally happy on his own. So just as that in the Loka Vattu, Leela Kaivalyam, so Kevala Leela Vatvam, it is done solely for the sake of Leela. And one person very beautifully said the difference between Leela and a karma. A karma is that which is done to be happy. A Leela is that which is done in the state of happiness. That is the difference between what Krishna did and what we do. So it is a Krishna Leela because he was in the state of Brahmananda regardless of what he did throughout. We are experiencing karma, or if things get bad, karma, because we are not happy and we are doing something in the hopes of being happy. So things can either turn well or not well, or sour or sweet or something. So Lokavattu Leela Kaivalyam. Brahman wanted to do this because to have some sport. There was some fancy that Brahman had, and it did all this. And here we are sitting
and the
teaching
sport
Maneesha
of
Panchakam.
Brahman is resulting in so much misery or whatever.
Misery and happiness, right? They're everything after pure Brahman is always a two-sided coin, which is why it is in our Puranas, in Mahabharata also. I don't know if you maybe have heard the Panchendropakhyaana. So when talking about the previous lives of the Pandavas, right? The Pandavas are all five of them are actually Indra-amshas. Their births were through the tejas of Yama, Vayu, and Ashwini Devatas and Indra and all that. But all five Pandavas are actually amshas of Indras of previous kalpas. So the last Indra is taken to a cave with all of that. In front of that cave, there are two people playing dice. Those two people are Parvati and Parameshwara, which is why whenever we see this world being described, it is just those two sitting there rolling dice. It is their moving pawns. Right? So even Bhagavad Pada says in Shivananda Lahari, right? Kridamrigaste janaha, kridartham srisit prapanchamakhilam, kridamrigaste janaha. Bhagavad Pada takes advantage of that actually. He says you have made this world for you to play. Kridamrigaste janaha. All these beings are your pawns. Yat karma charitam mayatu bhavatah prityai bhavatyeva tat, which means that every move of mine is for your own enjoyment. So therefore, Shambhos Sasya Kutuhalasya Karanam Macheshtitam Nishchitam. This is basically whatever I have done. Tasman Mamaka Rakshanam Pashupate Kartavyameva Tvaya. My every move is decided by you. You have made this environment for me to play in for your benefit. You have moved me as a pawn. So everything I have done is actually not mine, it is yours. So my protection is also in your hands, therefore it is not my job to take care of myself. So Bhagavad Pada,
that's so nice. You have explained it so well.
That,
can you just tell me from where you quoted this? I couldn't.
This is Shivananda Lahari. The beginning of the sloka is Kridartham Srijasit Prapancham Akhilam.
Okay, thanks so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so I think I have slightly gone over what I wanted to say, but I will close here, and then after that, the Vyoma team can present as needed. Ityesha Vangmayi Puja Shrimat Shankarapadayor Arpita Tena Devesha Priyatamme Sadashivah Tava tattvanna janami kidrishosi maheshwara yadrishosi mahadev tadrishaye namo namaha. So one last thing, over the course of the last 4 days, including today inclusive, we have gone through the first 4 shlokas of Maneesha Panchakam and how each of them bring out the 4 Mahavakyas. Prajnanam Brahma from Rigveda, Aham Brahmasmi from Yajurveda, Tattvamasi from Chandogya, Samaveda, and I am Atma Brahma today from Atharva. And then tomorrow we have the Phalita kind of Brahmajnana, or what the state of a Brahmajnani is. That will conclude this set of classes. There will be generally there is a special guest on the last day. I'm sure that Lakshmanji or the Vyoma team will announce who that is. So tomorrow I will meet you all for the last class of these sessions. Ram.
धन्यवादाः वसुधा
Ram Sarvebhyah. Prathmataya, Dhanyavadah Mahodaya for giving us this opportunity to present about new course. I will just share my screen. So we are from the Kids Persona team of Vyoma, wherein we are very much thrilled to announce a new Seva offer, which is vyoma-samskrta-pathasala. What is VSVP? So basically, it is sustained online daily curriculum for children for the age of 6 to 13 years, wherein we get an opportunity to learn, inculcate Samskrita, Samskriti, and Samskara. So basically, this is a 3-stage program wherein for the duration of 1.5 years for each stage. So the 3 stages are Shravanananda, listen, Vicharananda, think, and Acharananda is to experience. So for children, basically, parents will have this question as to, will it affect my regular school curriculum or is it on the extracurricular activities? Definitely, this is after school curriculum, wherein it will be for 1 hour post 5 p.m. so that children don't get affected with their regular studies. So you can definitely go through this course. So what are the subjects that are covered? It is divided into 2 main parts. Firstly, it is core subjects, which is Sanskrit and Shlokas. Elective subjects are the general activities, games, stories that are based on Adithya and Purana, bhajans and Jishugitani, and Indian cultural concepts such as why we do what we do. These are the 2 types of subjects that we have covered. How do I register to this course? Since all of you are aware of our website, sanskritfromhome.org, you just have to search for vyoma-samskrta-pathasala or simply type VSVP. You will be redirected to the course page wherein we have given in detail what does it cover, what do you gain from this course, what are the prerequisites, and what are the subjects taught, and some FAQs for the parents as well as for the children. So if you want to know more about this course, we have an open house on Friday, that is 9th of September between 8 to 9 p.m. Or you can also join on Saturday, the 10th of September between 8 to 9 p.m. So the link will be updated in the course page, as well as for the people who have registered to this course, it will be circulated through the email, which is mandatory to attend this open house to know more about this course. So this is a curated program wherein we expose children to our Indic knowledge systems and to sow the seeds of Samskrita, Samskriti, and Samskara so that the child's overall development is happening in the right way. So I request all of you to kindly spread this word so that we get more people and join in this journey. So let us all learn Sanskrit, be happy, be really happy. Thank you so much. And the enrollments for this course ends on 8th of September, which is just 2 days more. So after that, there will be no enrollments happening. So request all of you to kindly go through the course page. If people who are willing to join this, kindly spread the word so that they get benefited through this course. So namaste. Dhanyavada.